Hi, this is Matt Green with Frontlight Building Company. I want to take a minute today to talk about the Build Optimize process that our organization, Frontlight Building Company, is working on across the whole entire platform of our company. This is a partnership with Builder First Source and Paradigm. And essentially what we're doing, the word optimize, is we're taking a 2D set of plans and actually bringing life to those plans. We're building that in a 3D digital model that allows us to really look at the house in its entirety, even before we think about construction. Once we have that model that we take from a 2D to 3D, we actually add the components in there. We add the electrical, we add the plumbing, and we add the HVAC. And so we're looking at a whole entire house that we have fully constructed in a virtual world to really be able to evaluate all of the collision or potential collision and clash points before we get into construction. So what you see behind me here is some of the efforts that we did as a team. So we brought all of our trade partners around the table and we collaborated together to essentially build the house. We talked about the layouts, we talked about the pros, the cons, we talked about the problems that we've had in the past and how can we eliminate those and not be reactive in the field. And so all of what you see behind me, this is a house that we just finished all of the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing work that we're in right now. And so all of these documents that you see behind me are a result of those efforts. So you have the framer that is really looking at his truss layouts to make sure that everything is coordinated in a fashion so all the mechanical equipment fits in those particular areas. And then you have all the drawings that coordinate along with that. And so again, what we're doing is instead of being a reactive organization, we're being proactive with what we're doing as an organization. We're trying to be more efficient with what we do. And that translates into a lot of different things. That translates into cost, right? We're much better to be able to control our cost, but also the accuracy of the information. And that's one of the things that we really constantly try to figure out is how do we really become accurate with that information. So one of the people that I'm asked to come in and talk to is our project manager, Dave Shipler. Dave, why don't you come in here? Dave was the project manager on this particular job and was with us from the start. But Dave, why don't you just talk a little bit about some of the efficiencies that you see with some of our trade partners and you build other houses not using this Build Optimize model, but just talk about a couple highlights that maybe you can share that we saw tremendous benefits and we saw them pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, biggest thing first of all, of course, the framer is here first. And when the framer gets here, he's already got a presence of mind to know he's got electrical to worry about, he's got HVAC to worry about, and he's got plumbing to worry about. So having all these sets of plans for him to have reviewed and understand, he goes through the house before a single floor truss is set, lays out the electrical where all the can lights are, where all the plumbing's going to be, all the HVAC, and that eliminates having any rework done. Anything that's going to, again, collide with something that we're going to have to come back and move or replace or fix.
And right now, it's a trade comes to the house, then he leaves, and another trade comes in, right? And there's a lot of potential for communication mistraffic, if you will, and so it allows everybody to be on the same page.
Yeah, and they all kind of care about the next guy instead of just coming in and slamming out their work.
Right.
And then having the next guy have to worry about it.
Right.
So in all of them collaborating together, that eliminated that problem.
Talk about the takeoff and what did you see from a lumber and material standpoint? Did you have to wait? Were there any delays in the job for material takeoffs or anything?
No, and actually we're almost 2 weeks ahead of schedule. We were with framing from what our schedule is for framing because everything was here. We didn't have to sit and wait for a truck and the framer goes and works somewhere else for a couple days. Because obviously they want to stay here and work to finish the project to get paid.
Right. So really driving on the takeoff is.
Yeah, the takeoff was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had other projects that where we've waited for a week for materials before, just because the takeoff, there was errors in the takeoff.
Yeah. And then what about your waste? I mean, did you see a waste reduction in dumpsters and things like that?
Yeah, big time. I mean, the waste just wasn't there. Probably half.
Yeah.
Half the amount of dumpsters have gone out of here so far on this project as what normally does.
Yeah. One of the things that I was talking to somebody the other day is the amount of telephone calls and things that we get as we go through this process. It's a very demanding process, and a lot of times customers don't get to see all of that traffic that comes in and out. Mm-hmm. I assume just by me asking that question, your communication went down because we were proactive in a lot of the things instead of reactive.
Yeah, I mean, a couple times I stopped her because they hadn't been calling.
Yeah.
So made me worry that somebody wasn't here, but they just didn't have to call me with those questions or needing materials.
Yeah. So overall, it's a better experience, and I think you know, what we work to strive as a company is it's not just Frontlight. Our trade partners are part of our team as well, and having to ease that tension. You know, the building business and construction is a very intense environment, and I don't think people a lot of times understand that. So using these build optimized tools to help our experience both internally and then exterior with our customer is what we're really driving towards as a company. And so I commend Dave and his team for really working through these things, because I think getting those trades on one platform is very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. The only other thing I'll add is that the Build Optimize is what this allows us to do as an organization is take this base information, and then we have additional products that we can layer on top of that. So we can render the house, right? We can build various assets to the house, but keep in mind the best thing about it is we're rendering a house based off of something that we've already constructed in a virtual setting. And so it's going to be exactly what the customer is going to get. So the customer now can be able to see and visualize and really look at the house and what they're getting based off of something that Frontlight Building Company has already constructed. So again, it's part of the experience that we're really trying to create. I appreciate Dave, you today, and really jumping in and helping me tell the story. But I'm excited for the digital tools that Frontlight Building Company is adding as our organization, and that we can pass that on to our customers.